January 13th, 2013. We're going to talk today about 1962. A lot of interesting things happened that year. They say that the first time personal computer was mentioned in the media was 1962. Johnny Carson takes over the Tonight Show, and he holds that reign for like 30 years of being the Tonight Show host. Rachel Carlson's Silent Spring was released. The Beatles drummer was replaced, and Ringo Starr joined, and I think later that year they recorded Love Me Do, which started their whole Beatle thing going on there. Marilyn Monroe was found dead of a drug overdose. Best Picture of the Year was West Side Story. Hit song that was #1 at the time was Chubby Checkers' Let's Do the Twist. And surprisingly, first Kmart opened up in Michigan, first Target opened up in Roseville, and first Walmart opened up in Arkansas. So a lot of the department major stores that we know and love today started somewhere. There was also, the World Fair was going on in Seattle, Washington. I remember being there and seeing the Sky Needle, and that was built just for the World Fair, so it's still around. Andy Warhol made his famous exhibit showing the Campbell Soup images that was so attained to his image as we know him. Surprised I didn't know this, but the first commercial communications satellite was put into orbit by AT&T. And then later that year, the first live transatlantic television signal was transferred from across the oceans there. There's a lot of interesting stuff going down. And then another little baby born in the ghetto. I know it's an Elvis song, but I was born in 1962, June 1962. My folks had been married for 5 years. I got an older brother, no younger siblings, but they married. She got pregnant, they married, and then 5 years later I came along. It's interesting to hear my folks' history, to try and go back beyond, and to hear it wasn't until like 10 years after I'd moved away in 82 when I went back to visit my mother in 92, and she told me some stories about my grandparents. But my parents, my dad is 100% American Native. He's of the Cherokee tribe. And my mother is pretty much pure English ancestry. She comes from a long line of Herndons and Barretts. Let's see, the Herndon crest. She had a book that kind of followed the Herndons back through time to the original crest was emblem, had a heron. So Herndon comes from heron on the hill. Hernd, like a kingdom, which is kingdom on the hill. So heron on the hill, Herndon. I want to say her father married Barrett. There was evidently some Barretts, which were English as well, in Oklahoma City there. And whenever she told the stories that the Barrett sisters, there was like 5 of them or so, and he courted, couldn't get a couple of them to date him, but he got the one to date, and ended up marrying her. They were kind of excommunicated because he was, my grandfather was a traveling, see how you put this, one-man band. He did the entertainment. He was kind of in the days that they had like a little medicine show. He knew his little partner made kind of the recipe and sell the recipe, and he would be the one that kind of set up the entertainment and bring the crowd in, and then his partner there would sell the elixir, a magic elixir. So he was a one-man band. He got a picture of him. My mother gave me of him holding a bear. He used to dance, kind of a wrestle dance with the bear. So that was kind of interesting to hear that he had some really wild days. And his folks, if I remember telling the story, came in the early days of Oklahoma, that they were musicians too, and they would load the piano on the back of a cart, horse and cart, and go around to these different farm sites and teach. They would have piano lessons. So a long line of musical ancestry there. Now on my father's side, now this is interesting, is that he is a Native American, makes me a half-breed, but his ancestry comes from, I want to say, like West Virginia, the hills of eastern part of the states. When the colonies started to expand, they moved all these tribal Indians west out to Oklahoma. Oklahoma was just one big reservation. So these 5 civilized tribes, the Trail of Tears, and how they migrated them across these many miles and set them up in Oklahoma, in the Indian Territory as they call it. And so there's some history on both sides, which is interesting. But that's about me. Like I said, I didn't really know my grandparents that well, because they did pass away before I was 10. But to hear some of the stories, not directly from them, but to be able to know where I came from, a little bit of my ancestry, is interesting to know. That's just the first topic I just wanted to go over. I'm going to leave you with they was talking about Chubby Checker today on one of the shows I was listening to, and it was all about the Twist, and the Twist was popular. He released it in 1962, and it went up to #1, and he released it again in 1960, and then 1962 released it again, and it went up to #1. And I was thinking of all the crazy things that I remember in the 80s, and they did the breakdancing. You got these kids spinning around on their backs, and then I get to go to concert with my son, and they're doing that little mosh pit thing. They get in there, and you jump in, and you just kind of get tumbled around, and then that crowd flying bit where they just host is interesting. They just one guy says, "I'm ready," and they just grab him and just throw him up on top of the crowd, and he just goes sailing across the crowd. So different times, different things happen. But 1962, the Twist by Chubby Checker. January 13, 2013.